something that's happened is a bunch of you have sent me different types of news from around the country, and one of them that's a big story right now is about this guy, Daniel Picard. So, for those of you who don't know who Daniel Picard is, he is a city councilman from Middletown, Ohio. He has a proposal that rather than giving people Narcan, after 3 times, they are out. And when he says they're out, that means that they're dead. Well, there's a few reasons for this. He's talking about the money that they're spending on this and the millions of dollars that it's costing them, and each year it's going to keep increasing. So his proposal is to stop giving people Narcan. What? So he's talking about how this thing snowballed out of control really quickly, and the calls and messages and news crews has been showing up, and it's like, yeah, Daniel, that's what's going to happen because you're talking about people dying on the streets because you're tired of giving them Narcan. There's 5 million things wrong with this, and I'll just try to touch base on a few of them. So the first one is that Daniel wants to punish these people who are overdosing. He says that he wants to give them community service. I don't know how many of you who are watching this are opioid addicts, but community service was not going to help me quit doing opioids. In fact, I probably would have shown up to community service with a bunch of opioids to help me get through the community service. Next, he's talking about how if people know that they're not going to get Narcan, then they'll stop using drugs. This is also very incorrect. Something that they learned a long time ago, decades ago, is that scare tactics do not work. That prefrontal cortex right here that we've been talking about, one of the things it's responsible for is a thing called fear modulation. What that means is that drug addicts and alcoholics are not scared in the same way as normal people. So, decades ago, they proved that scare tactics don't work for this exact reason. This is why we need to educate people, because they are wasting time, they are wasting resources, and let's be honest, they're wasting some valuable thought power that could be used towards creating good ideas that could actually help people. But instead, they're not looking at the scientific research and they're coming up with these zany ideas on how to help the situation, which really won't do anything in the long run. What kind of baffles my mind about all this is that there are different parts of the country, obviously, that are dealing with this opioid epidemic. And there's different parts of this country that are doing amazing things to help people. And they're statistically proven to help not only the people who are suffering from addiction, but also the communities as well. One of the organizations that somebody told me about was called Perry. And what that is the Police Assisted Addiction and Recovery Initiative. So this is actually an organization based out of Massachusetts, and the young lady who told me about this is from Washington. They are paying to help send her to treatment. They are an organization that gathers funds and helps people by sending them to treatment so they can get the help that they need. So this young lady is actually from Washington. And Washington, there was actually a documentary that I saw a while ago. Don't remember the name of it, but I'm sure you can Google it. But the whole police force is tackling this issue at a different angle. What they're doing, I believe it's up in Seattle, is rather than criminalizing people who are struggling with opioid addiction, what they're doing is that they're offering help. So they're going around, they're finding people who are, junkies on the street, and they're offering them help. They'll take their needles, they'll take their drugs, but they don't arrest them. They give them a business card and says, hey, if you want help, come see us. And they talk about how there's just been this huge influx of people who are coming down the police station, and then the police station hooks them up with caseworkers and stuff like that to try to find them treatment or anything that might help them. So what we really need to start doing, instead of having this idea that we should just let people die because they're using drugs, we need to start looking at the root cause. Let's look at the root of what the problem is. Opioids. Most people who get hooked on things like heroin were first addicted to prescription drugs. So let's start looking at the medical industry. Now, I will say this. Ohio is in the process of trying to sue a pharmaceutical company for this exact reason. Kudos to you. We need to start looking at the way that we're prescribing people drugs. The United States prescribes 81% 8% of the world's entire supply of opioids. So that is a big issue. Next, we need to start looking around not only the country, but around the world at different ways to solve this issue that actually work. I believe one of these places is Portugal. There's also some places in Europe. But within the United States, there's different states that are doing these things. So let's first look at the root of the problem, then let's look at proven success methods, then let's help save people. But when you have councilmen who are suggesting that we let opioid addicts die, that is a perfect example of the lack of education in this country. And we cannot have people who are making these decisions have that lack of education, because what it does, it leads to a lot more people dying. Thanks again for watching. This is Chris from The Rewired Soul, but I want to know what your thoughts are. What do you think? Do you think that we should keep helping people by giving them Narcan? Do you think we should get them treatment? Or do you think like Daniel Picard and we should stop giving them Narcan because maybe that'll scare them into not using anymore? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and I will see you next time.